Hi, I'm EllaAradia and welcome to your Psychic Tarot love reading. This reading is for my Gemini, Libra and Aquarius air signs. The timestamps are below, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into your person's hidden feelings for you. This is a love reading and it's for those of you who are already connected with someone, even if you are currently in no contact with your person. This will be a very specific message. It may not resonate for all of you. If it feels right, then it's meant for you. Otherwise, you may want to check out the readings for your other placements, so Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Gemini, let's jump in. So I always like to just tune into the energies first, Gemini, before I start pulling cards. Just like to see what comes through. Feeling a strong energy of feeling like you're carrying the connection, and many of you may be dealing with someone who is a little bit closed off and shut down at the moment. They may be going through something. They may be going through a bit of a life crisis is what I'm feeling, where ultimately, they're looking for more purpose in life. But that's causing them to question the direction of their life. What do they really want? What are their true feelings? They're questioning everything. They're questioning the relationship. And I do feel a real kind of conflict going on with them right now, because to me, this feels like a soulmate bond. And it feels like a really deep bond between the two of you, where there is a lot of love. There's a lot of history there. And on your side, that's bringing up a lot of anxiety. And I do feel you've tried to talk to them and get them to open up and share their feelings, but I just feel like they're really going through something and they're quite closed off. They've gone inwards, they're looking for answers, and sometimes that's what somebody needs to do. But of course, it can start to create a sense of a distance between the two of you. With your overall energy is the Ten of Pentacles. So building a future together for the long term. That's what I mean. I feel like this is a soulmate connection. And I feel like both of you, have each other down as your life partners. And what you do have, whatever this situation is, what you do have is these strong foundations. And that is so important, for any connection, if it really is going to, let's say, stand the test of time here. Now, for some of you, you might actually just simply be dealing with someone who has kind of settled in, got into a bit of a routine and just kind of sat back, and they're just not investing or putting the energy in like they used to before. And that's this feeling that I keep picking up on, of feeling like you're carrying the relationship. And again, that starts to create this sense of distance between the two of you. Your person's view of you, the Tower, change, sometimes sudden change, things that, start to break down, the falling apart of something that, we thought was a sure thing. Letting go of old structures, behaviors, beliefs, things which, there was something that perhaps was unhealthy about those things. It's the letting go of things which no longer serve, so that we can perhaps put things back together in a better way moving forwards. So you guys definitely are in some kind of Tower moment right now. which, it can be quite a challenging card. Their feelings towards you, Temperance, a card of healing, renewal, of integrating, those unhealed parts of ourselves, integrating the shadow, the unhealed parts, in order to move forwards in a different way, to show up differently. So they are in some kind of, I would say, a little bit of a dark night of the soul at the moment. A huge kind of moment of a life review, of things starting to break down that were perhaps unhealthy in the connection. Because I do feel like they've been closed off like this for quite some time. And again, it's the same thing, not really showing up in the way that you needed, just very shut down, very closed off. And, that does start to come between you at some point. And there is an invitation for, something to change here. But that may involve, a little bit of healing and growing, which is what the energies of Temperance are all about. It's also a card of patience and moderation. And with our intentions towards you, we have the World. So, this is a card of change, of endings, beginnings. It often comes up at the end of a significant chapter, represents the beginning of a new one. But it doesn't always mean, the complete completion of something. Like, it's also a card of graduation. So it can be when things move to the next level in some way. But in order to do that, I very much feel, there's some things which do need to be let go of. They do need to break down. Things that weren't really working in the connection between the two of you, that, need to be healed and resolved and addressed in order to perhaps, move things to the next level here. The other thing I'm feeling is some of you may have been about to kind of take things to those next level. This could represent commitment of some sort, moving in together. And sometimes that can be scary for people, when things are about to get deeper. The fears, the insecurities come up. And very often, these tower moments can happen because it is an invitation for healing, of, letting go of what no longer serves, to heal and move into a more whole and complete space in oneself. Your feelings towards your person, the King of Wands. And this is what I'm feeling happening here, because I feel like they are, they're quite closed off. That creates a sense of distance. And usually one of the first things that we do is we try to bridge the gap. We try to talk to the person. We try to resolve it with them, because this is a card about, going after what you want, taking action. Because I do feel that, you are very much wanting to, resolve things. And I feel like you're someone that likes to kind of do that pretty quickly and talk things through. And I feel like you're just, it's not working. And I feel sometimes it is important to allow space and allow someone to really get in touch with their true feelings. And sometimes when we keep putting our energy into someone's space, it actually makes it harder for them to do that. But of course it's a challenge, because we fear to lose that person. But just remember, that space is sometimes, no contact space is actually something that's really important, because it allows them to really reflect, to work out what are their true feelings, What do they truly value moving forwards? What do they want to take with them moving forwards? And what lies in your challenge? The Page of Cups. Keeping your heart open in this process, trusting. Because there is a possibility here for some kind of renewal. I do strongly feel that. And this is what I feel this card represents. You know, the challenge is about just really trusting the process and being open to a potential renewal here, a new emotional beginning. The hidden influence is justice. Very much a karmic connection. That's why I feel like this is a soulmate connection. And it is also about trusting that in this situation, you know, there will be fairness, there will be balance, because justice always comes in to, you know, cut through the illusions of a situation to bring about fairness and balance. And, you know, very much a card of cause and effect and learning the soul lessons, understanding, you know, the higher learning, because I do feel that, you know, this is very much a karmic connection where there is an invitation on both sides to work through any fears and insecurities, to heal and grow and move into a more kind of whole and loving relationship with each other. With your advice from the universe, the Two of Swords, an important, maybe difficult decision to make here. And, you know, it may be one that you are avoiding. It may be one that you feel very stuck with at the moment as to, you know, how do you feel moving forwards? Is this something, you know, is this somebody you do want to try to resolve things with, or is it perhaps time to allow it to complete? So a difficult choice that needs to be made here. And the most important thing is, I feel, to try to get a little bit out of your head and go more into your heart and try to connect to, you know, what your heart is telling you right now. So very much a card of a crossroads. And what lies in your outcome is the Ace of Pentacles, a whole new fresh start, a new path to walk for some of you perhaps, but some kind of new beginning which will lead to growth, and it will lead to, you know, whatever this Ten of Pentacles represents for you. So Gemini, we are going to just get your person's hidden message for you. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in no contact. So Gemini. I replay our conversations over and over. I hide behind material things. You speak to me through music. Someone's doing a lot of reflecting right now. You came closer than anyone. I regret lying to you. So Gemini, I'm going to leave it there. We are going to move on to Libra. So let's see what we have for you. Libra. Just going to do one more shuffle. I'm already feeling some energies of somebody from the past coming back up here, coming back into your life. Let me just feel into the energies. Let me just see what comes through here. I'm seeing movement, and I'm getting the image of you perhaps recently walking away from someone. That may be through choice. It may be that there was a sense of feeling like you had to for some reason. You know, that there were perhaps things in the connection with this person that, you know, really weren't working out in some way. But at the same time, I feel like you really saw the potential in this person. And that's the hard thing to let go of. But they just weren't really showing up to that potential. They weren't, you know, able to, I feel, step up to the plate for some reason. And so there is this strong sense of you not getting what you really needed from that connection. And it may have been, you know, someone you felt you had to walk away from. So with your overall energies, we have the Four of Pentacles. I feel like there's reflection going on, and I feel like it's happening for both of you actually, but you're both keeping your feelings really quite close to your chest. And the interesting thing, I feel that even though you've walked away, even though there is this distance between you, and I feel like there may be very much a no contact situation here. Either way, you know, even though there is this physical distance, energetically, you both actually feel very present with each other still. Like you both feel very invested still. I feel like your person hit a wall. Things were about to move to the next level, and they got scared and kind of closed off. With your person's view of you, the Six of Cups, card of nostalgia, of revisiting the past, going back over old memories, you know, replaying conversations. Like I said, I do feel a very, very strong energy of reflection here where they are rereading, you know, text messages, looking at old pictures, things like that, and like replaying conversations over, and very much this energy of, you know, if I'd have said this, if I'd have done this, maybe things would have been different. I feel like they know they've messed things up. That's the strong feeling I get here. And I do feel regret. And I do feel the awareness coming in that, you know, the realization that actually they got scared. Things were about to progress and they got scared. Fear to open up, a fear to be seen. With their feelings towards you, the Three of Cups, they want a reconciliation. I do feel that. Like I said, even though, you know, there's this distance between you and you may have walked away or taken a step back. Someone's taken a step back, maybe both of you, but they do want a reconciliation. That's what the Three of Cups is all about. Their intentions towards you, the Lovers, a choice to be made, a significant choice. And it usually is a relationship choice. And it's about making a choice which is really aligned with your heart. Whatever distance there has been between the two of you, even though I feel like it may have been challenging for you, I feel like it's been really, really important, because what it has allowed is the space to reflect, to reassess, to recalibrate, to experience perhaps the reality of, you know, what life is like without you, to face what they actually stand to lose here. And sometimes no contact and space is needed for that to really truly happen, because I do feel that they have been really doing a lot of soul searching here. your feelings towards your person, the Sun. Card of clarity, of happiness, joy. Clarity after perhaps a time of confusion. The beginnings of, seeing things clearly, of perhaps really understanding the connection with this person. Because I feel like they're also, moving into that energy themselves here with the Lovers. And they're getting ready to, I feel, make some kind of decision, which to me feels like moving back towards you, with wanting a reconciliation here. And maybe some of you have been waiting for that acknowledgement, with this energies of the Sun, and that clarity is coming. What lies in the challenge is the Three of Wands, which is a card of growth and healing. And it is about growing and healing and working together as a team in order to progress things, to the next level. But to do that, that involves facing, those fears and insecurities that often come up when things are going to go next level. The fear of commitment, the fear of opening up your heart, because maybe you'll get hurt, especially if it's someone that has a betrayal in their past or a heartbreak, a fear of being seen, of not being enough. And sometimes, someone has to face the possibility of losing someone to really understand the importance of that connection. So the more, you can really face any fears and insecurities, the more possibility there is for healing and growth here, and actually perhaps reconciling and moving forwards together. Hidden Influence is Death, a card of transition and change, but it's often a necessary change. It represents the shedding of old layers, of old versions of ourselves. And that's very much what I feel happening with your person. Of course, when they do come back around, it's important for you to really feel into their energies and make sure that they do feel like they've genuinely changed. You need to know what's going to be different moving forwards, as well as perhaps, looking at your part to play in that as well, and looking at where you can make changes and adjustments. And with your advice from the universe, the Wheel of Fortune, this is all about trusting the process, because this is a card of divine timings, orchestration. I usually look at this card as your destiny in motion. And it's usually when the universe comes in and shifts people, places, situations to either realign us with something or somebody, or put us on a different path. But either way, I feel like it is to trust what's unfolding and just know that that is for your highest good. So just try to embrace, what is unfolding right now. And in your outcome, we have the Seven of Cups, a card of potential, of possibility. Sometimes a card of options, but very much, this card of potential and possibility. And the important thing with the Seven of Cups is, at some point, something has to actually manifest. Otherwise, these just remain potentials and dreams. But that definitely is, to me, what feels like the invitation here between you and this person. That maybe the timing wasn't quite right before, but there's been healing, there's been growth, and maybe it is now. So let's just get your person's hidden message. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in a no contact situation. I couldn't let you get close to me. That's exactly what I was talking about. That fear to open up. I feel you even though we're apart. I lost myself for a little while. I love you. So Libra, I'm going to leave it there. We are going to move on to Aquarius. Aquarius. So let's dive in. Let's see what we have for you. I feel like there's a choice that needs to be made, Aquarius. I'm already feeling that. Not settling for less. Let me just tune into the energies here and see what's coming through. I have a big question here as to whether you're on the same page as your person. I'm going to be honest. I feel like you are ready for love and commitment. I'm not sure if your person is. I'm not saying they're not, but I just feel like there's a little bit of a question here. I definitely feel that you see the potential. But I feel like they're just not honoring the connection in some way. They're not giving you the commitment that you're wanting. I feel a little bit of a player energy here of somebody who is on some level trying to sort of hold on to their independence. And trying to hold on to, you know, certain aspects of their life which represent that sense of independence. It's like they're afraid to lose themselves. So with your overall energies, we have the Eight of Swords, which often represents a feeling of being stuck. You know, stuck in the mind, stuck in the thoughts. Feeling like, you know, you're not really sure which way to go with this right now. And that's the energy that I felt straight away there at the beginning of not feeling sure around whether this is something someone you should just let go of and move on, or is it worth, you know, sticking around to see if something does shift, if something changes. But this sense of feeling stuck, and of course it's important to remember that, you know, you're never really stuck. It's often just our thoughts or negative limiting beliefs that we kind of get wrapped up in that kind of make it feel like we're stuck, but we're not really. You know, those things can be changed. We can change our perspective. We can change the way that we're looking at something. And again, it might be about getting a little bit out of your mind and a bit more into your heart and, you know, tapping into your heart for a bit of guidance here, Aquarius. So with your person's view of you, the Seven of Swords, this is this card of like this kind of energies of dishonesty. This is this player energy that I keep feeling. Almost get the sense of the person that you're dealing with, I feel, is keeping other options open. Like they may not necessarily be cheating on you in a physical sense, but they may be, you know, entertaining chats or something like that, you know, just keeping options open, keeping doors open, just in case something breaks down in the relationship with you. because this represents, you know, somebody kind of sneaking around in the background, hiding things, dishonesty. It also represents a lack of trust. So definitely a card, you know, that comes up when there's trust issues in a connection. And I mean, on your side, I feel like you don't trust them. Because it, you know, that just feels like there's stuff going on in the background that intuitively you're feeling it, but you don't really know for sure. And I feel like you're dealing with someone who might be quite a wounded soul. There might be a big fear here around opening their heart up to you, opening up to love. And somehow, you know, this behavior is, you know, them trying to hold on to an identity or a version of themselves, but it's their protection. You know, it's stopping them from opening up to that deeper love, which is what I feel like you're offering here. Their feelings towards you, the King of Swords. I feel like this is your person. And of course, you know, the gender can be either male or female, but someone who is, I feel, a little bit closed off from their feelings. That's what I'm getting here. And the King of Swords, you know, they may very well be a very deep thinker, but they're definitely not someone that leads, you know, with their feelings, with their heart. They usually make their decisions based on, you know, perhaps the facts of a situation. Their intentions towards you, the Moon. Again, representing, you know, things which perhaps might be being hidden. Another card of deception. Your feelings towards your person, the Six of Wands, a card of recognition, acknowledgement. And that's that potential that I feel that you do see in them, you know, because, you know, it's not all negative. I do feel like, you know, there is this kind of softness between the two of you. You do have some kind of connection between the two of you. But I just almost get the sense here of somebody who, you know, maybe, you know, showing up in a way with you, which is saying that they're in a relationship with you, but perhaps on the outside of that, they are presenting themselves more as a single person and keeping doors open, keeping options open, entertaining chats. And I definitely feel it's a behavior, it's a version of them that has always kept them safe, safe from feeling their feelings, safe from opening up their heart. And the question is here really, you know, like, how long do you wait for someone to make a shift? When do you move on? When do you let it go? And I definitely feel like there might be a little bit of a choice to be made at some point, Aquarius, some point soon. So what lies in your challenge here is strength, you know, facing fears and insecurities, perhaps facing the difficult emotions or the issues that might come up if you were to perhaps let go of that potential and walk away here. Because that was the first thing I felt at the beginning. It was like this really strong kind of question of, are you both on the same page? Yes, the potential's there with them, but are they really ready? That's the thing. And how long do you kind of hang in there? Because, you know, you also deserve to have your needs met, and you deserve love, and you deserve to be treated, you know, with love and respect and caring, and you deserve for the connection to, you know, be honored, acknowledged. What lies in your hidden influence is the Five of Cups, a card often of loss, of sadness, of regret, of looking back over on the past at, you know, what has been lost. I feel a strong energy of soul lessons and healing in this Aquarius, because when you look at the image of the cups on the card here, there's two cups still standing, which always represent, you know, what remains and the blessings or the lessons to be taken, you know, from the situation, from the connection. And it may be for some of you that there might be some lessons in self-love here. There may be perhaps an abandonment wound from childhood that needs healing, because it does feel like there is a fear to lose this person. And the fear really is more around, you know, what you might have to face if you let this go, what you might have to face in yourself. But with strength here, you know, you do have the courage to face anything that comes up and to get through whatever that is. Because maybe the soul lesson here is really what the blessing is for you, Aquarius. And maybe your person is just playing out that role for you. So some people, you know, we connect with, you know, they're there for a lifetime. Some people come in because they help us to learn, you know, very valuable soul lessons. With your advice from the universe, the Eight of Wands. So for those of you that are in no contact, you know, this is a sign of messages coming in. They may reach out. It's also an invitation from the universe to perhaps make some kind of decision here, to, you know, make some kind of move in this situation. And with your outcome, the Five of Swords sometimes represents a conflict, an inner conflict. But in this case, I feel it's a message for you around cutting ties with whoever, whatever no longer serves you. And, you know, any connections which really do feel unhealthy for you in some way. And so I would say, I would be, you know, tuning into your heart right now, listening to what your heart's saying and all of this. The heart always knows the answers. And, you know, not being afraid to face, you know, whatever those fears might be, if you were to walk away from this person. Because ultimately it's not, you know, it's about not settling for less than what you truly deserve. And maybe, like I said, you know, they are in your life to help you learn those lessons of self-love ultimately. So let's get your person's hidden message. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. I remember every detail of that day. So that's going to resonate for some of you. I replay our conversations over and over. You speak to me through music. You came closer than anyone. Like I said, I do feel like there is there's some kind of bond between you. But at the same time, I just really question if they're really ready to kind of open up and take things to the next level. I regret lying to you. So Aquarius, I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels best for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.